But at the same time, you don't become an oppressor to your oppressor. You do not become like the one that wronged you. You do not start to resemble them in their behavior. You do not start to employ tactics that they employed on you. You do not go anywhere further, in any way exceed what is due to you in trying to demand your right. And yes, even at sometimes complete forgiveness, that is the way of mercy. Forgiving the one who wronged you. Establish the rights, because we also don't want to perpetuate something in society where people are wrong and they let it go so that that person continues to wrong. But at the same time, when you find yourself in a situation where you could take revenge and you could take vengeance, you forgive. Ta'fu, you pardon. Ta'fu amman zalamak. And the Prophet ﷺ mentioned that you spend upon those amman harramak, the one who held back from you. Okay? The scholars mention many different connotations of that. Basically, that you find yourself in a situation where you were in need and someone withheld from you, but then the tables turn, you find yourself in a situation where they are in need, and you don't treat them the same way they treated you. That's one. Number two is that in the family dynamic, there was a point in the family where one person was responsible for the other, and they did not fulfill the obligation the way that they should have. As time goes on, you find yourself in a situation of obligation. You should not allow yourself to forbid or to withhold the way that that person withheld from you. A parent with a child, for example. The roles switch at some point in life, right? At some point, the child becomes responsible for the parent the way that the parent was responsible for the child. Third, tasil man qata'ak, that you try to establish the ties of kinship with the one that cuts you off. What does that mean? That means that if a family member or a brother or a sister cuts you off, you still extend the hand of kindness to that person. There is an exception to that, as there is to anything. Whereas if there's a fear that by maintaining that relationship, you will open yourself up to abuse. Okay, so someone abused another person, the abused doesn't have to go reach out to the abuser and say that, I'm leaving the door open for you, because that's an exception to the rule. But all these types of things that that happen, especially within families and amongst brothers and sisters, our Muslim family even, right, our community family, you always make it a point to leave the door open. You extend the hand of salam, you extend the hand of peace. You do not cut off your brother or your sister, even when you feel like they have cut you off. Okay? So the Prophet ﷺ is giving us these higher ideals. What do we take from this? And where do we see it exemplified in the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ? The most obvious of them, as far as amana is concerned, as far as trusts are concerned, is the fact that the Prophet ﷺ was entrusted with the possessions of Abu Jahl, of Uqba bin Abi Mu'ayt, of Amr bin As, of Al-Ashaj, not Al-Ashaj, there's a fourth person that I'm missing here. Hopefully it'll come back to me, inshallah ta'ala. Akhnas ibn Shurayq. Al-Akhnas ibn Shurayq. The Prophet ﷺ was entrusted with their possessions in Mecca. They put a bounty on his head and wanted to kill him. Put yourself, let's give this a real or a present day manifestation. There's a guy trying to kill you and you have his watch.